It is Monday, the 17th day of May, 2010. Max Kaiser coming up in just a few minutes. He normally joins us once a month, but he was on last week because of all the market situations. Now a lot of other analysts agree with him that it was a market terrorism, market manipulation. With the 1,000-point drop, it's down over 100 points right now. Open talk of the euro imploding. We're going to discuss it all with Max Kaiser and take your calls on the economy and other issues with Max coming up in this hour. And we are live at prisonplanet.tv, now simulcasting the second half. But Randy is calling in saying he works with the U.S. military in Germany, and he was saying they're really waking up. We're hearing the military calling in mass, talk about how they're listening to my show all over the bases. We've got troops coming out and going public up at Infowars.com with Oath Keepers about how there was a revolt in Katrina, refusing to confiscate guns. Tyranny comes to your door in a uniform. And if you can educate the people in uniform, the globalists won't be able to carry this out. And I've seen major news reports about how the NSA is mainly watching troops and FBI now, not just citizens like myself, because they know there's a huge awakening. Describe for us, Randy, the type of awakening going on over in Germany, in the military, in the government people over there, and other key points you said you wish you had time to cover.
Well, there's a lot of different things. For example, I mean, I have bumper stickers, in the Fed. I support Ron Paul, bumper stickers, things like that. And a lot of people, they'll come up and ask me, what does that mean, in the Fed? And it blows my mind. It really does. These are, majors, colonels, lieutenant colonels, stuff. Have no idea. And I explain it to them. And I tell them, like, go to your websites. Go to these In the Fed websites. Check out Ron Paul's websites. Read these books. Read these tapes. And they'll wake up. Like, I had no idea. I had no idea.
And by the way, I hope they don't try to persecute you and others that are spreading the word, because in national polls, over 80% of Americans want to audit or abolish the Fed. It was 75% just 3 months ago. And so you're with the American people. It's your right to be for auditing this private secretive bank that's been robbing us.
That's right. And, you're on the economy and stuff, because I live in Germany, so I'm kind of, involved in the economy stuff over here. I don't know where all this bailout money is going to come from that they're helping Greece and everything else out. A lot of people, in America, we fight taxes and everything else for good reason, because over here, your sales tax, for example, is 19% on everything you buy. They tax your TV. They give you a church tax. If you go down and stay in certain hotels and stuff around the Alps and stuff, they tax the air, the water. They tax everything. These folks are taxed to death. And
now the Germans have been told, by the way, the U.S. is paying for part of it, that they've got to give up more of their pension funds. The Greeks have been told this. And so the trillions are going to come out of your pocket. That's why they're going to unify the tax rates globally by raising them. That's what the New World Order is. It's a global corporate model where private central banks control the planet and set global taxes so there's nowhere to run. And that's why the New York Times admits record numbers of wealthy Americans are leaving the country because this is their last chance to get out with their money. There's only 6 months left or so, and then you're not getting out with 5 cents. And so, so they run to Costa Rica. So they run to the Cook Islands. They're going to mop them up next. We shouldn't be running. We should be standing and speaking up and identifying this global corporate structure. Anything else?
Be standing up like the Thais. We should be out there revolting like the Thais. That's what needs to be happening.
Well, Randy, I appreciate your call. Be safe over there in Germany and keep waking people up. But there are a lot of ways to revolt, and I'm doing that by educating people and saying arrest the bankers, bring them to justice. Not your corner bank, but the Goldman Sachs crooks that are about to put a Supreme Court justice in who's against free speech and the Second Amendment. That is a declaration of war against this republic. When somebody touches that Bill of Rights, and this isn't touching it, this is burning it to the ground, that's an attack on every single American, regardless of what color you are. And that's why they want us fighting over race instead of the real issues. We're live, 8 minutes into the third hour. Max Kaiser of MaxKaiser.com. Got television programs on BBC, Al Jazeera, RT, being picked up for its second highly rated season. He is with us. He's normally here once a month. This is his scheduled monthly visit, but I had him on last week because of the quickening and his predictions coming true. After he was on, last Monday, breaking down the fact that there was clear evidence that this was financial terrorism with a 1,000-point plunge, and that the financial wolves or hyenas, the wolf packs, were bringing down Europe. The very same central banks controlled by the big brokerage firms and investment banks like J.P. Morgan, Chase, Goldman Sachs. Trichette's now saying, I need more power, and we need more U.S. and German money. And it's all spelled out in the headlines. Their answer to the crisis they created is more power to them, enshrined in a world government. So to go over those headlines and to take your calls at 1-800-259-9231 is Max Keiser. And your calls are coming up for those that are holding. Max, good to have you back so soon.
Yeah, man, great to be back with you, Alex.
All right, my friend, you've got the floor for the balance of this segment. Lay out where we are, what's happening, what's going on in Europe, what's going on with Brown stepping down, Merkel in trouble, saying the banks are criminal, what's happening in the markets, a trillions not enough, they need more. What is happening right now?
All righty, well, let's talk first about Greece. Now, George Papandreou, the leader in Greece, he made a statement yesterday, over the weekend, that he's now going to investigate what role the Wall Street banks played in destabilizing his country, his economy. And this is through some back-channel communication between myself and folks in Greece, and I've been trying to steer them in the right direction, telling them this isn't a market problem, it's not a market failure, but it's fraud that's been perpetrated primarily by Wall Street banks. And my message got through, and he said yesterday that he hears words like a need for transparency and there's fraud, and now he's going to take a stand against the bankers. Now, historically, when anyone in politics has taken a stand against the bankers, they immediately put themselves into, quite a bit of danger, because the track record, if you go, even if you read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, whenever a leader of a country steps up against the bankers, they put themselves into grave danger. Now, this would be the first time, really, that a major Western economy is taking on the Wall Street banks, but the people in Greece are out in the streets, and the leadership is responding. So he's making a statement. So we're going to see, because there's ample proof that the Wall Street banks purposefully crashed the Greek economy, for short-term capital gains. So that's the first thing that's happening. What's happening in Iceland? We made a film in Iceland about the collapse of the krona, the collapse of the Icelandic economy, and I've gotten pretty friendly with a lot of the legislators up in Iceland. I'm proposing to them that they introduce some new economic citizenship, so that anyone in the world who wants to escape, for example, a U.S. citizen that wants to escape the tyranny of the U.S., can buy a passport for Iceland. And to make it competitive, so it only costs $20,000. Right now, there's only two territories or countries that offer economic citizenship: Nevis, St. Kitts, and Dominica. They're both in the Bahamas. They cost $200,000 and $75,000 respectively. I'm saying that Iceland, to be competitive, they can offer economic citizenship for $20,000, and they could get, if they get 200,000 or so, or 500,000 citizens from the U.S. to renounce U.S. citizenship and move to Iceland, they could raise $10 billion immediately to help recapitalize their country, and they are talking about rewriting their constitution in ways that are going to favor free speech and freedom of the press.
All right, let me stop you.
Anyone who's interested in freedom of the press would immediately want to emigrate to Iceland. So we have these pockets of resistance and pockets of strength from the work that you're doing directly and the work I've been doing. And now these people are starting to respond, because the global insurrection against the banking occupation is on.
Okay, the global insurrection is on. I want to interject this and get your take on it, and I want to back you up here and have you continue. This is French news agency. Bankers jailed, sued as Iceland seeks culprits for crisis. Then a week ago, we saw the Merkel headline where she called, it criminal banks causing this, though she's bought and paid for by them. So isn't that the danger with the Greek leader and others, is that they see the headlights of the train coming, the global insurrection against the banking cartel. They know they can't survive. unless they put it into a process, and then maybe Goldman Sachs or J.P. Morgan will flush down the toilet some mid-level trader, on a sub-issue like Timberwolf with Goldman Sachs. I mean, isn't there a danger of that? Because I've been all over Greek radio and newspapers as well saying arrest the bankers, arrest Goldman Sachs. And so you've been putting the pressure on. Many others have been putting the pressure on. So that's a great idea. Secondarily, how you brought up expatriates. We have the New York Times saying record numbers of wealthy people who aren't globalists leaving because they say this is the last year to get your money out, just fleeing en masse. I'd rather flee to somewhere like Iceland, but I don't even have enough money, I don't think. Like you said, if it was $200,000, then I think I'm going to stay here and go down with the ship. But for people that do want to escape and be around like-minded people, but